Here we go.
People coming in.
Yep. It's another Thursday. And Dale's coming in hot.
Sorry.
Dale's ready to negotiate new terms for the panel list.
Hey, Dale, I loved your talk and I was inspired. But I also have some questions for you. We'll talk.
Oh, you're going to have to go to my website if you have any questions. I'm sorry.
No, these are not art related questions. These are culture related questions.
You got to go to my website.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Just look at my website under answers, then look for questions.
Yeah.
And if you can't find it there, send an email to my IT guy and we'll get back to you within 48 hours.
Is your IT guy Timmy Trebon at visualpassage.com?
No, I should make him my IT guy. Just
You should be.
Apparently I've struck a chord. I apologize, Dale. We'll get
need
through
to
this.
apologize.
We're gonna work through this tonight.
No, it's good to start from the top turnbuckle and go from there.
Hug it out. Hug it out.
These questions are Timmy's fault, by the way. So that.
Yeah. Wow. All right.
Look at that. I've even made Bill a little bit ornery. That's great. I'm proud.
Man. This is
We're all sassed up and ready to
this
go.
is an absolute disaster. I don't have the intro song on my computer right now. So
What?
we're just gonna have to.
Dale,
we're
can
just
you
gonna have
hum
to-
it out for us?
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
I know.
we can do the acapella version.
Illustration isolation. All right.
That could be good news, actually. All
Yeah,
the way around.
those of you who have never tuned in, we have an amazing intro song. This is a disaster opener, so we're gonna get going right now.
All right. Hey, everybody. I am John English. Just below me and at least on my screen is Timmy Trebon. We are Visual Arts Passage. We are lucky to have just a great group of people join with us tonight. Bill Cobe, Chris Payne, Dale Stefanos, Cassandra Loomis Kim, and that's all I can see on the screen right now. Did I miss? I think there's 7 of us in here. So as always, we'll be doing 3 poses tonight. We are very fortunate. We're doing a second night of Matthew Salacuse's work, and the photography and the work is just exceptional. Go to his website, matthewsalacuse.com. It's like who's who, beautiful portraits of who's who in contemporary music, fashion, film, and comedy. Last week we drew comedians. Tonight we're drawing musicians. And so our first pose is King Cruel. Our second pose is DMX. And Matthew is going to join us tonight, and he's going to tell us a really interesting story about DMX that relates to an article that was published in Esquire. And then Billie Eilish, and then Killer Mike. And you have a choice of Billie Eilish or Killer Mike on the last pose. As always, in between poses, our first 2 poses are 20 minutes. Our last pose is longer. It goes as long as 45 minutes sometimes. At the end of the night, we'll look at all the work. Please share your work in between to #illustration isolation. So thank you everybody for being here. I'm ready to start drawing. It doesn't, Timmy, it just doesn't seem right with the opening. As much as I complain about that opening, it's just not the same.
It feels naked. It does.
It does. I feel dirty.
I agree.
So-
Something's missing.
Yeah, something's
Yeah,
out of
it
place.
does. This episode will feel hollow.
But we did start off. Dale came in hot, and Dale and Bill had a good, exchange right at the beginning of this, and so, all's well in the world. So here we go.
Well, it was funny because we usually do that filler at the beginning, and then I was like, wait, what are we waiting for?
Yeah.
I'm fighting for justice.
I was
Pretty close.
still expecting you to have a computer or like a guitar right near your computer, so you could have just like
Yeah.
filled that air.
I was a little disappointed also, Cassandra, that he just didn't pick that up and go
Mhm.
with it.
Yeah.
You know, if you heard me, you would have been even more disappointed. So
I doubt that.
I doubt that.
Wait, this guy was in a band?
so I don't know this guy, King Crew.
So
Cool.
Well, that's the stage name. So for everybody, I've dropped a link to the photo reference in the chat. John's gonna stop sharing. There we go.
Right.
All right. So I highly recommend you draw along with us. That's a big part of the show. Dropped a link to the photos in the chat and share your work with us. I highly recommend tagging Matthew's account, which is at Salacuse, and also tag the musicians as well. I grabbed Killer Mike's and King Cruel's tags. But like last week, a lot of the comedians like reposted everybody's artwork. So, and Matthew reposted a lot too. So take advantage of it. It's a good platform.
That's cool.
Do it for the exposure.
So who? I'm sorry. Who is this? This handsome young gentleman.
UK, like rapper, pop music, singer, songwriter. I don't think I'm cool enough to be familiar with his music.
I'm sure
Right.
Chris is here, right?
Chris probably knows who King Cruel is.
Looks like little Opie Cunningham.
Yeah, I was just gonna thank you.
There you
I was gonna
go.
say this guy grew up to be a pretty good director.
Opie Cunningham,
Yeah.
that's you're mixing IP there.
Well, that was, you got to remember, that was from Eddie Murphy when he was doing Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood.
Okay, well,
I love Opie Cunningham.
we'll leave that for Eddie. So,
John, are you gonna switch your camera?
I will. I'm already drawing the second pose.
Okay. So if anybody's new, I've already seen a few people say it's their first night here. Feel free to ask questions about technique, about career, about what the artists are doing on the panel. It's totally, the conversation can be steered by you.
Just so you know, if you're new here, I'll explain. I will not include myself in this description, but you're in a room with some amazing artists. There's not
Better
a,
include yourself, John.
there's not a more successful working illustrator than CF Payne in the world. He is an icon to the industry. Dale Stefanos, amazing editorial illustrator. Cassandra Loomis Kim doing wonderful things, well, illustration wise, but now she's her approach is gallery work. The list of shows she has coming up is about as long as my arm. Amazing. Bill Cobe, done great comic and illustration work, and just a phenomenal painter. And so you're in a room with some extremely good artists. Please take advantage. You can ask about technique. You can ask about skill set. You can ask about their careers. As Timmy said, you're in the driver's seat as far as the direction of, at least for now, as far as until Timmy takes over. Right there, until Timmy stops all conversation. You're in the driver's seat. So please take advantage.
I gotta say, I absolutely love these photos this week.
And what's not to love?
I mean, I liked the photos last week. They were beautiful, but these are kind of, I think these are even a step above.
This gentleman looks like Chris already drew him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's been through the Payne filter.
Paint filter, yeah.
That's a good thing, by the way.
Yeah.
Somebody's already asked. I have a horrible time with figuring out scale. Do you have any pointers?
Just measure. Yeah, seriously, you know, the reason you see artists, that caricature of artists sticking their thumb up and then, you know, to the subject, and then they're measuring. So you could do it with a pencil, you could do it with your thumb, whatever, but they're measuring. So, you know, you put it up and you say, oh, that's how big, that's how far the space is between the nose and the chin, and you can kind of cheat it down to the size you're working on.
Yeah, I'm always measuring, even if I'm not doing that, you know, I'm always,
You mean like measure in life, Bill?
well, no, in drawing, I mean, I'm
I
always.
know, I'm
in life,
kidding.
yeah, in life, I'm always measuring. It's who measures up, who doesn't?
Bill shows up at the 7-Eleven and I'm just measuring the
With the
soda
ruler.
fountain here. Yeah,
Yeah. I just need to know how tall the strip glass is.
yeah.
Is it the same size as when I was a kid? Why did it look bigger then?
Bill, I'll add on to that, as my father would say, I'm always measuring in my head.
Yes.
He's always comparing things. I try to find like overall shape, like, you know, in a profile, this line is so important and I want to make sure, you know, proportionally it's correct.
Yeah.
And so I spend time, you know, looking for those, the kind of overall shape of the head. And then kind of fill things in from there.
Well, and you know, also check where things line up. Like if you're looking at where does his nostril end and where do you see the beginning of his eye? Like here you see there's almost a line here. So then that's like the nose area. And then you see that the nostril lines up with the edge of his mouth there. So you start to see where things belong based on comparing it to where other areas are
Yeah.
too.
And that's basically, I mean, I would call that measuring in my,
Yeah,
it's,
Absolutely.
it's all relate, this, how big is this shape and that shape, and then you can start to fudge it, and that's really the fun of it, is when you watch what Chris does and he stretches things, and
No, really?
yeah, I know.
Never guessed that.
Just a
I'm
little.
not gonna- Okay, thanks. Hey, Chris, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
whoa, Bill, it's
Oh,
on his website.
God. All right. Wow, we got Matthew here. This is great. The show just got like at least 30-40% better. So it's a good co-host. Matthew, how are you?
Good. Wow. I'm looking at your work already. This is in the last 15 minutes?
Yep. Yeah.
Impressive.
That really honestly like last 7, because we started kind of slow tonight. But yeah. Yeah, it's great to have you back.
Welcome back, Matthew.
Thanks for
you.
joining us.
I
Thank
was
you.
I was so excited to have you back a second time, because like I was telling everybody last week, I really didn't think you were going to show up, and I was totally unprepared for your and I was totally like Chris Farley being like, that was awesome.
No, you had some good questions along the way. So Thank
But no, this is great. So excited to hear this DMX story, which
yeah.
DMX is pose number 2. But everybody, Matthew, this is our photographer. Sorry, I should have opened with
Awesome stuff.
Matthew, welcome
Yeah.
back.
Love it.
Tonight I actually did spend a little bit of time writing out some questions.
Oh, all right, I'm ready.
Yeah. So first question I want to know is, did you grow up in New York City proper, or outside?
Yeah. So I have my mom's in the room with us, so she can verify all this. She's watching from our Brooklyn home that I was raised in.
Amazing. What era was that in?
We were originally started in Park Slope, and then we moved to Sunset Park, which is just about 20 or 30 blocks away.
Okay, my next, and I feel like this is an interesting question for creatives or artists of any kind. And it's kind of an interesting question because your mom is drawing with us. Did you grow up in a strict house, or did you have a lot of free reign?
It was a pretty loose environment, but
Yeah.
they, both my parents wouldn't let you get out of line or, be
Right.
too strict, too crazy.
Yeah.
My mother, who's in the room, like I said, is an art therapist. So we grew up with
Oh,
art all over the house, all the time.
okay. Yeah. So I guess I asked that because like I always think of like so many people. Well, I immediately think of the Beastie Boys when I think of like kids that grew up in New York City.
Adam Yauch went to my high school.
Of course. Oh my God. So cool. And I've heard interviews with them where they were just like, they were just like independent young adults almost at
Oh,
that time.
yeah, no, you grew up very quickly.
Yeah.
And I was talking about the early part of my life, but like from 15 on, you're sort of, the city is like your third parent.
Wow. Yeah.
Matthew, I have a question for you about New York City and growing up there.
Oh yeah.
Would you say that there's a vast difference between growing up, say, in Brooklyn, different parts of Brooklyn, than growing up, in the Upper West or Upper East Side?
Well, you're talking to someone who's had the opportunity to do both because my father lived on the Upper East and my mother is obviously, like I said, in Brooklyn. So I got a taste of both. Brooklyn, this is just my experience, isn't for all Brooklynites, but my experience was Brooklyn was more community based and Manhattan was more of the you're on your own.
Yeah.
And that might be because Brooklyn was more dangerous and you sort of had to look out for each other. And the city was just like, it was safer, but it was, a little more wild, you had independence there.
I gotcha. I hear you.
Sort of no one was looking after you. So you can sort of do what kids want to do.
So you've seen lots of changes in the city. Like you've seen it go from its dirtiest, scary.
Oh, I just yesterday I shot a video in Fort Greene Park, and when I was growing up, you couldn't go anywhere near Fort Greene Park. You couldn't even go within 10 blocks of it because it just drugs and guns and broken bottles. It was just a dangerous place. And now it's like families and babies and shooting music videos and stuff.
When did you first pick up a camera and start running around with that?
My second year of college at NYU.
Okay.
Yeah. I sort of had an aptitude for it and I wasn't really good at book learning. So it was like a great mix. It was like, oh, you don't have to read to be good at something. Yeah.
Did you immediately get drawn to shooting like artists? Was that
yeah, that's what was available to young college kids at the time. Like you could shoot for magazines because there were so many magazines and they just needed content and they needed it cheap, and so they turned to college kids.
Yeah. So was that, did you start out shooting hip hop? Was that a lot of your first stuff or? Yeah, because
I grew up in Brooklyn, so hip hop was, as part of my culture. And I grew up with it since I was, since it started, since inception. So when I started shooting, I was like, this is what I want to shoot. And nobody was doing that. It wasn't a job anybody wanted.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a lot of racial dynamics there too, where they were like, if this is nuts to say, but like, if you shot Black people, they would say you're going to get pigeonholed and you're only going to be able to do this the rest of your career. That's what they told me early on.
Oh, that's terrible. Yeah.
Wow.
That's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was some of the music? What were like the first, I guess, groups that you were listening to or artists?
Run DMC. The first, and like I said, my mom's in the room. The first 12-inch I ever had was, so she can attest to all this. The first 12-inch I ever got was Rapper's Delight.
Okay.
By Sugar Hill Gang, and it just wore that out, and then it just progressed to which was fun, happy, and then it moved to a little darker with Run DMC, and then as you move on to Jay-Z, and then becomes what everyone knows now as hip hop.
Yeah. I just can't imagine. I grew up adoring that. Like just I was obsessed with that just completely. But I also grew up in Kansas City, so it was so far away.
What did you get? What filtered down to Kansas City at the time?
Jay-Z was I mean, he was the peak. I mean, Jay-Z, I was obsessed with Jay-Z.
So I
Yeah.
did one of his first shoots.
Really?
Oh, that
Yeah.
picture. That picture was fantastic.
Oh, it's on my site?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
It's really, but the first.
It's like right up there. It was for his first album in like 1996 called Reasonable Doubt, and he was doing press for it. And there were two photographers up for the shoot, and it was me and this photographer Jonathan Mannion, who's like the hip hop photographer today. Like
Right.
since '96 until today, he is like
Yeah.
the guy. And we're both up for the shoot, and there's an apocryphal story about how we both shot him within a day or two of each other,
Uh-huh.
and one of us got to shoot his first album, which was Reasonable Doubt.
Uh-huh.
And then one of us got to shoot every single album of his from that point on.
Yeah, so you're like, I got the first one though.
So the Mannion story is actually a great story. Mannion's also a New Yorker, also a hustler. And I think Jay-Z appreciated that. And it was, so he went to his manager, Dame Dash. So Mannion went to Dame Dash and said, look, I think this guy is the goods and I want to shoot the album.
Mhm.
Dame was like, we got a guy, don't worry about it. We already have photographers lined up. And he said, Mannion said, I'll shoot it for $500 less than anyone else will. And that sort of tickled his fancy. And he's like, oh yeah? And then Mannion was like, if you can get someone to do it for free, I'll pay you $500 to do it.
Oh my God.
And Dame Dash was like, you got the job. And he is now the guy, like
That's
Wow.
incredible.
every single album.
That's incredible.
You
Really?
totally hate that guy now.
What's that?
You totally hate that guy now.
I respect him.
Yeah. Trying to
But
think.
recently in the news just in like this calendar year, like this time, 2021, Jay-Z sued Jonathan Mannion.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, because Jay-Z wanted to release an NFT of like a bunch of those pictures chopped up.
Uh-huh.
And Mannion was like, you can't do that. They're my pictures.
Uh-huh.
And Jay-Z was like, they're of me though. And they're like, well, that's not the law.
Yeah.
So they had a lawsuit back and forth suing each other. This like great relationship finally like
Oh God.
yeah,
That's too bad.
ashes.
So he won't be shooting the next Jay-Z.
Oh, this is my chance.
Peek back in.
Oh, that would be so cool if you totally bookended Jay-Z's career. How
Yes,
yes.
yes.
I shot the first one. I shot the last.
Right.
How old were you when you realized you could make a career out of what you were doing?
I don't know.
Was
How
it
old am I
pretty
now?
fast?
I'll let you know because it's a grind. Like I still grind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you're being pretty modest, but yeah.
I am being modest, but it's like it's wavy, you know. It's
Yeah.
great times and then slow times, and then great times and slow times.
Mhm.
Cool.
Feast and famine.
Exactly. Wow, that's really nice.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'll try to. Of all of the musicians because I always go back to comedy. I think it's so interesting that you've developed such a connection with the comedians that you've photographed. But of all of the musicians you've photographed, who do you think was the funniest?
Oh, Rihanna was funny.
Really?
and-
Huh.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect that.
Yeah, no, she's fun, and she's like, here's a good story. We don't have a picture of her, do we today?
No.
Not that we're drawing, no.
Oh, okay. So, I photographed her in LA in like 2015 for the cover of a magazine, and I'm not gonna say she was late because she wasn't late. She was like, call time was 11 and she got there at noon, but we didn't start shooting until 9 p.m.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was planning on shooting at 2 p.m. Like that's when all my shots were set up for. I had it all scheduled out. But
the
she did not
bubble
walk
gum?
on. And when she walked up on set, like, I'm telling you, 9 hours later, she was like, finally, like I had been keeping her waiting. And then,
Yeah.
but on set, she was like completely present for the next 2 hours. And then just like I'm bouncing ideas off her, she's bouncing it back off me, and like it was just a fun, funny set.
Yeah, that was like kind of another question I was wondering, and you know, Matthew, it's so hard for me to not be like, when I just wrote down a couple questions. I was like, this will be interesting, and every time I'd be like, try not to make this like People magazine. Like, is Rihanna normal? Is she like us too?
Yeah,
No.
they're just like us.
Is that the photo?
That's the one.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, that was her idea. I was like, can you pull your gum out like a teenager? And she was like, how about this? And I was like, just even better.
That's great.
So who do you think is like who's like the easiest person to photograph, as far as like it just not easy, because I don't want to lessen the work that you put into it, but have there been
I'll tell you
subjects?
the hardest musicians to
Hardest.
photograph are people who are just getting a little bit of success,
Oh, I can see that.
because they think like this is how you're supposed to act,
Yeah.
and then they get difficult and demandy, and it's
Yeah.
like it's so unpleasant.
Uh-huh.
But like you shoot a lifer like Alice Cooper, the guy's been shot a million times, total professional. You photograph like Rihanna, I mean, yeah, she was 9 hours in her dressing room,
Yeah.
but like totally personable, and like, you know, no attitude when you're in front of them. It's like great. The bigger they are, like,
I was wondering that because so many of your photos seem so honest with the subject that you're capturing.
Mhm.
But I was thinking about like, I think the essence of a lot of hip hop, or the essence of like a lot of pop music in general, is this persona that the artist takes on, and that persona might not always be totally true to that person.
yes.
And do you feel like when you're hired to go on set and photograph that person, are you trying to break that down, or are you trying to like to capture a really honest photo, or is that like not your job? Does that make sense?
Yeah, honest photo, it's sort of an oxymoron, because like they are trying to portray something and I'm trying to portray something. I'm trying to pull something out of them, and they're either hiding something or giving me something. So it's like honesty is not a real thing that can be captured. I mean, in a documentary, yes, it can be achieved because
Yeah.
you're sitting with someone for hours and hours and you really find out who they are. But like a photo session, it's sort of like we're all professionals here. We all have a job to do. Let's try and make the best of the situation.
Yeah.
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 Will you excuse me for 1 second? My Chinese food delivery guy is here.
That's perfect. That's great. That's just in time for our second post.
Okay, hold on.
What already?
All right. So everybody, this is really fun. Everybody, we are moving on to pose number 2. So in the meantime, while the artist slowly, as Matthew gets his Chinese food, please post your work to Instagram using hashtag illustration isolation. At the end of the night, we're going to look at everybody's art. So it's really important you use that hashtag. But be sure to tag at Salacuse. That's Matthew's Instagram handle, SALACUSE. And also you can tag the artist that you're drawing, which is, it's a pretty long handle, but Edgar the Breaker on Instagram. I'm going to grab all this and copy and paste it into the chat. So I'm not going to spell it all out for you, but post it on Instagram.
Wait, Killer Crut is Edgar the Breaker on Instagram?
Yep.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yep. All right, I just shared it in the chat. So if you want an easy way to grab that and repost it, highly recommend it. Let's see here. We got a few questions here. Here's a question for you, Bill. What are you doing with the roller?
I do monotypes. So I rolled ink onto a plexiglass plate, and then I paint on it, and then I wipe off the paint, and I get a reverse print. And I don't always know what the results are going to be.
That's cool, man.
Thank you. And then I'm also doing these transfer ones where you, of course, this is where the paint's blocked up, but where you put the paper down, you draw on that side. So if this gets messed up, I can still have somewhat of a decent drawing on the other side. And now I'm kind of doing a hybrid using the chalk pastels and mineral spirits.
Okay, cool. And then we've got two questions for you, Chris. We had a question from earlier. You were drawing with a really short, I don't know what it was.
Pencil.
Little tiny thing. They said, why was it so short?
Because he used the rest of it.
Yeah, 'cause
All right.
Start out really big.
Well,
Hey, you guys
I like drawing with these because, again,
Yeah.
I think one of the bad habits that I think a lot of folks do is
Yeah.
when they draw with a pencil long thing, they're like doing this.
Yeah.
And I just don't like the way that, I don't like my drawings. I like to use my whole hand. So
That also makes you look like a giant. So, and then
Chris-
what kind of colored pencils are you
Yeah.
using, Chris? Pastel or wax based?
these are just your standard Prismas.
Okay.
This is a darker burgundy color called chestnut,
Yeah.
and I'm just drawing on a Strathmore gray tone paper.
All right. And then here's another question. I feel like anybody could tackle this, but Ocean wants to know, this is for Chris Payne and Dale Stefanos. They want to ask this because you're both here in the same room. I know likeness for celebrity portraits is important. Between realistic depictions versus caricatures, is one valued more than the other in the industry? How important is the conceptual ideas behind the portrait, or can the portrait stand on its own without concept?
Chris, I will always
Well, I
defer
mean,
to you, so.
obviously portraits can stand alone. Oftentimes, caricature sometimes usually involves a little bit more narrative at times because maybe there's a commentary. I think sometimes it also depends on who the publication is for and what they're wanting to do. So it just oftentimes it's the job that dictates how much you caricature and how much you don't. I have a tendency to do some distortion no matter what, just simply because it's just the way I draw. But I think, caricature again is a very generic term that covers a lot of turf, as opposed to same thing even with realistic. I see a lot of realism that has a lot of caricature aspects to it, because what you're really trying to do is bring additional personality rather than just purely a copy or a rendering, and that's it. You're trying to bring a little bit more life into the person. Even the photographer, like you heard the photographer talking about his work. Everyone has seen a photograph of themselves that they say that doesn't even look like me, and yet it's a photograph. So photographs are able to capture caricature too, just as much as a drawing. So which has more value? Again, it depends on the market. I mean, if you were to try to go into sports illustration, doing sports figures, they pretty much want pure realism. People enjoy caricature, but they're not going to pay as much for caricature. You might get into celebrity portraits, and they'll accept more caricature. So to me, it sometimes depends on the market. They all help me.
I totally agree with that. I've noticed in the past few years that I used to do a lot of caricatures, and I've had a lot of requests not to do characters. I don't know if that's a comment on my ability or just the marketplace. I think it's the marketplace. I think with a lot of the political situation in the past few years, plus the rise of people being able to comment, I think publications have become afraid of their reader base, and they don't want to be criticized. I used to have that problem when I worked at a newspaper, the editor would say, we're going to get letters if we run that. And I would always think, that's good. That means they're paying attention. But a lot of editors are afraid of that. But to the value, I don't think one is more valuable than the other. It depends on the client and the situation. I love that you said that about being able to exaggerate in realism too, Chris, because even when I'm asked to do a more realistic portrait, I can't help but it's just my nature. The way I apply the media is sort of in an exaggerated manner. So
No, absolutely. And when you also talk about value, I'll just say this, my friend, about, if you're thinking about, you do caricatures of people and want to be able to sell them later on, I think that's a tough nut in the sense that, I just got done doing a picture for a magazine of Liz Cheney, and, okay, maybe a nice portrait, everybody be happy with a portrait, but honestly, name me another human being on this planet that wants to buy a picture of Liz Cheney hanging in their house. This has nothing to do with the politics of her. It's just simply any politician. I don't care who the politician is, by and large. And I'll even go so far as to say a lot of movie stars. I mean, you can, there's a handful of people who are these iconic figures like Humphrey Bogart and Paul Newman or Elvis Presley or Marilyn Monroe. But apart from that, people in general, they just don't usually hang images of other people in their homes. It's just not something that they do. So for me, it's the jobs that you're doing for the clients. And that's all I think of at that particular time. When I'm doing a job, it's doing that particular thing the best I can for that client. What happens with it afterwards, whatever.
All right, so we've moved on to pose 2, which is, I think it's the most awaited pose of in illustration isolation in the history of the show. I've been really looking forward to this, Matthew.
All right.
DMX was like,
oh, we're doing DMX. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I've started working on the wrong photo. Sorry.
No, it's okay. We're DMX is probably one of the more important rappers in my 7th to 8th grade. Was like, oh my God, he was so good. It was so exciting. I've heard so many grade school kids do that bark.
I've heard DMX do that bark,
which is thrilling.
It's pretty cool.
So for those of you not familiar with DMX, he calls his friends or his boys dogs, and there's a lot of growling in his rap, a lot like and a lot of arr, arr, like that. So I got a shoot with DMX in 2008, and he had just gotten out of jail, and he was sort of putting himself back on track for being like a model citizen, and he just had a baby, and he's getting his life back to try and regain his place on the top of the hip hop, get the crown back. And Double XL is like, we're gonna document. Double XL is a rap magazine. We're gonna document this, and we'll send Matt to Chicago to photograph him. And I was like, great, this is a dream for me, a young rap fan like myself.
How old are you then?
Oh, I think I was probably 20. No, oh my God, no. I was in my 30s. Well, it's my 30s.
Okay.
But still, impressionable 30-year-old.
Yeah.
So I fly to Chicago to do the shoot, and his manager, I'm in touch with his manager. I was like, shoots at 2:00 or whatever, and it's 2:00 and he's not there. And I'm like, okay, now it's 4:00. He's not here. I was like, what's up? The manager's like, he'll be right down. I'll be right down in the lobby. He'll be right down. I was like, okay. So 5:00, I was like, what's going on? He's like, I gotta tell you, he's not coming. I was like, what do you mean he's not coming? He's like, he's not even in Chicago.
Oh my God.
Like,
Oh God.
I was like, well, where is he? And they're like, well, he's in Miami, and we were hoping he would get here, but it's DMX. He does what he wants to do. So I was like, okay. So I call my photo editor, and she's like, okay, just come home tomorrow, and that's it. I was like, that's it? And I was like, I want to do this. They're like, it's over. Here's your $1,500 for your whole thing, and that's it. And I was like, can you give me his number? And she was like, yeah, sure. So she gave me his number, and I called him that night when I got back to New York. And he picked up the phone. It's DMX. It's like, so it's like you're talking to the caricature that you've seen your whole life. And I was like, hey, this is Matt, the photographer. I was supposed to shoot you in Chicago. You weren't there. He was like, yeah, I'm in Miami. And I was like, I really want to shoot you. He's like, we'll do it tomorrow. I was like, I'm in New York. He was like, well, we'll do it tomorrow. And I was like, I got to know you're going to do. I'm spending my own money at this point. Like, now they canceled it. I'm doing this for me. And he was like, I'm spending my own money. He's like, spending your own money? I was like, yeah. He's like, I'll pick you up from the airport.
Wow.
Of course, he didn't pick me up from the airport. I flew down. I flew down, and I called him when I got there, and he's like, rent a car, meet me here. So I do that. And I meet him in this parking lot of this like kind of dingy hotel that's sort of like, it's shaped like the White House. And
Yeah.
he meets me at the parking lot, and he's like, are you the guy? I was like, I'm the guy. He's like, my wife needs your car.
Oh my God.
So I was like, yeah. He's like, we're gonna take the baby seat, put it in your car, we'll use her car. So like now she's like in my rental car with the baby seat, but I'm with DMX, and that's what's important. So I was like, what do you want to do? He was like, I just want to do anything. He's got a brand new baby, he just wants to get out of the house. So he's like, whatever you want to do. I was like, let's just go for a drive. So we start going for a drive, and the rest of the day was just one big yes. Like anything I suggested, anything a stranger suggested, like someone was like, are you DMX? Yes. Do you want to come to my studio and lay down a track? Yes. Do you want to do the drug? Yes. Do you want to go shoot pool? Yeah. There was like nothing he turned down.
Wow.
The whole, I mean, it was like, so we went shot pool. We met somebody, we recorded a rap in their studio. It was like, it was a total whirlwind. And then it's like 10 o'clock, and I was like, what should we do? And he was like, let's go to a place. If you look on my website, it's under Day in the Life. You'll see we went to a check cashing place. It was like, 10:30 or 11:30 at night on a Tuesday, and we're at a check cashing place. Oh my God. Hold on a second. This guy, the worst time. Hello? Hi, is he downstairs? In the lobby. Okay. Okay, I'll send my wife down. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
This is
Hold
great.
on. This is the worst timing ever. Hold on.
I found the photos though, so this is good. I can grab these. Here we go. Such a cool photo.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, the pictures. Oh yeah. Keep these up. It'll
Here,
jog my
I'm
memory.
gonna share this instead. This will be better. 1 second.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wait a minute.
Here. There we go.
Oh yeah, you want to go to the gym? Yes. You want to next one? You want to drink and drive? Yes.
God. Oh my God.
There is check cashing place in the next frame to the right. Check
Oh,
cashing.
wow.
The next one's him in the studio and like just drinking the whole time.
Wow.
So, the next frame is the one you're drawing. There it is. That's my favorite picture.
Wow.
All right, I think that's it for those. But so all right, so we go check cashing place. He's like, I got something to do, and I was like, okay, what are we gonna do? We get in the car. I mean, he's like drinking since noon, and he's like, I got to go to Opalaka, which is like a pretty bad neighborhood. We go to Opalaka, and he pulls into a 7-Eleven, or like bodega convenience type store. It wasn't a 7-Eleven by brand. It was just a convenience store. And he's got a beautiful like S Series 500 Mercedes. I don't know what much about cars, but I know it's expensive.
Right.
He hops out of the car, keys in the ignition, door open, just walks into the 7-Eleven. Pickup truck full of like hood kids just in white t-shirts. They're all in the back of the pickup truck. I think there's a photo of them in there. They jump out of the pickup truck and they follow X into the convenience store, and they say, he's walking in and they say, X, where's the money? And I was like, we're in for a bad time.
Oh my
So
God.
I close the doors, the car's still running. I take the keys out, and then I just put on my backpack and I run in the store behind X, like, this is safety. I'm safe if I'm with him at least. So he's doing, now trailing him throughout the store. He's doing his little convenience store shopping, and they're trailing him throughout the store.
Mm-hmm.
They get closer to him. Now there's 4 of them surrounding X while he's paying for Now and Laters and Red Hots. This is what he went to get. So he turns around and finally addresses them, and they're like, X, where's the money? And he was like, that's funny. I was just about to rob you. And everybody started laughing. And he completely diffused the situation with a joke, and it was like a magic trick.
Yeah.
So he signs autographs, takes pictures. We get back in the car. We go to like a 2-story like motel, and we buy drugs. And he pulls up to this 2-story motel place. He'd never been there before. He gets out, he opens the door of the Mercedes again, gets out, and just starts barking.
Wow.
Like, arr, arr, like that. And everyone's like, is that DMX? And it was. And they all rushed him to like say hi. And then he just goes into one of these little like cabanas and buys drugs. And then that's when it gets dangerous. We get in the car.
Because it hasn't yet.
At this point, you're like counting the drinks. Are you doing the math in your head? And you're like, how is he still?
But his tolerance is legendary. So I don't know when he's drunk. But there's a picture in there. Sorry, Mom. I apologize. I know you're listening to this. I never told you the story.
I was just going to ask if your mother's still in the room, but
I hope so. I hope not. So
I think you're officially grounded, by the way.
Yeah.
So there's that one picture you see in there where he's drinking. That's after we got the drugs. He didn't do the drugs yet. He put them in his sock pocket. So he's drinking, and he's like, all right, let's go to Miami with that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we start driving down 95 South. The odometer clicks to 120, and it's doing this, da, 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 and I take a picture of it. It hits 140. It's like, da, 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 and I make sure my seatbelt's on. He's not wearing a seatbelt. And I was like, he's like, what are you doing? And I was like, safety first. And he was like, that thing will kill you before it save you. And I was like, what? And he was like, if I flip this thing, it catches fire, you're stuck. And I was like, this is part of his, like, he woke up that morning being like, I could flip the car, it could catch fire. Like, it's never occurred to me.
Yeah.
But like in his world, this is something that could happen. So we get to Miami, outrun the cops who get on us. Yes. Cops got on us because we were doing 140, but we outran them because we were going much faster. And there's like causeways when you go from the mainland to like Miami Beach. He lost them over that big turn because they were so far back, and we just pulled off and sat in a parking lot until 3 a.m.
At any point during all of this, are you thinking like, there's no way they're gonna believe that I'm like,
I shot so much video, I shot stills. I was writing in a notebook. I texted on that car, I texted my photo editor. I was like, I have never said this in my life. I was like, if I die, try and find the camera. These are really good pictures.
wow.
Yeah.
because at a certain point you had to be like, what? At any point were you like, I'm in over my head, or like, were you like, I want to be out of this car right now?
I did, but I also wanted to be in the car right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have that, you've got that thing in you that makes you want to do like to capture that moment enough.
I did. I had a kid and that left.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, you can risk your life, that's fine, but now you're messing up someone else's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's totally understandable. Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah. Marilyn's still here, Matt.
Oh no. Sorry, Mom.
Mom, remember that time I told you I went with DMX and nothing happened?
Marilyn, is he grounded?
Yeah. That's great. So you lose the cops, you're into the parking lot, and then
We just spent the night, my friend met us up in the parking lot, and they just rapped back and forth until 3 a.m. And then we're like, okay, good night. That was it.
was the rapping good at that point?
I mean, yes, yes, he's like God level. Oh, the one story I didn't tell was Shazam was a new thing. Like everyone had just gotten their iPhone, and Shazam was a new app.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I was like, he has a song where the first 4 bars is just him talking.
Mhm.
And I was like, I'm gonna Shazam DMX talking to see if it recognizes the DMX song. And I think this is the first occurrence of this, because he was like, what technology is this? It didn't work, but I was proud of that moment.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my God. That story is terrifying.
Like
Yeah.
when you got home, how do you recover from a day like that? Because that's an extreme adrenaline rush and like an amazing story, but that's also a very like concentrated extreme experience.
True. I mean, that's a good point. Like I'm not a big trauma guy. Like I don't really hold that stuff. So it may have been scary in the moment. When the moment's passed, it's done for me. So it's like, okay, that's in the past. So I don't really, hold on to that. So I sleep pretty well.
That's really good.
Good. Yeah, I would still be working through it, Matthew. Which,
That's
by the
my
way,
mom,
any
how
of
she
our
can sleep.
any of our young listeners, like, we're not glorifying this. This is like journalistic photography.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. At the time was Vice News. It sounds like a Vice News story from the time. That's
Yeah. I think it predated Vice.
Yeah, it must have. Yeah, totally. Yeah. That's amazing. And then it just diffused. Did he drive you home, or did you just?
No, my friend drove me home.
Oh yeah.
Somehow X made it home. I had to photograph him again in the morning. I had to meet him again to shoot him in the morning as well. So like, it wasn't over.
How was it in the morning then after that evening?
It was like just a poolside portrait. That picture of him doing push-ups.
Yeah.
That was that day. It was like, I was like, what are you doing today? He's like, we're working out. And I was like, okay. And then he worked out and just sat by the pool, and somebody handed him a pill, and he was like, just took it. I mean, I've never taken a pill. It's just random. And he was like, took it. And then 30 minutes later, he's like, what is that? And the guy was like, it was Oxy. And he was like, feels like R&B. Like, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, when drugs feel like R&B, it's probably pretty good. Oh yeah, that picture was the next day.
Oh, it was the next day. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Man, did you
He
ever?
lived it. He lived a life. I mean, there was no lie in what he rapped about.
Yeah. That seemed to be like a very honest persona, honestly.
Yeah.
Man, what a tragic. Did you ever cross paths with
Oh,
him?
someone's saying this is Cap. This is not Cap. This all happened.
Yeah.
I was there. I mean,
This is a true story.
yeah.
Someone's saying it's what?
No.
Cap. It means you're lying.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Someone
Oh, he
hears-
believes me. Okay.
Oh yeah, you got one. Somebody believes you, Matthew. It's great.
Okay. I mean,
Wait a minute, someone here is calling you out as a liar?
yeah.
Oh, God. Come on, man.
Tell them to read the Esquire.
To the person who says it's an exaggeration, I've got videos if they want to DM me.
Guys, we like to have guests like this. Can we not?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, come on.
You're a liar.
Yeah.
You know, his mother's here. He wouldn't lie.
Yeah. Why would he lie from his mom? Yeah,
Yeah.
come on. Oh wow, man. So did you ever cross paths with him again? Did that ever?
No. I wish I had.
Yeah. I
How
mean,
did, I'm I'm an old guy. How did he die?
We believe it was a drug overdose, but I don't think there's an official.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really tragic.
Yeah.
John, that drawing looks amazing.
Yeah, it's killer.
Yeah. The colors are great.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So good.
Jesus.
The way you captured the smoke.
Yeah, I worked on that. These digital cameras were new then, 2008. They weren't like great and low light, so I like really sat with them for a while to do this.
Yeah. What camera did you use? What was
This
that?
was one of the first good
5Ds?
one of the first good digital cameras was 5D Mark II.
The Canon 5D
Yeah,
Mark
I'm
II?
sorry, yeah, 5D Mark II, yeah.
Yeah. My first camera was the Mark III. Yeah.
Oh, great camera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, Dale, that looks awesome.
Mhm.
Oh, thanks.
Wow.
Well, you're officially the most entertaining storyteller so far.
Oh my gosh.
It had everything. It had suspense. It had comedy. Terror.
Speaking of comedy, Matthew, I really enjoyed your documentary, High Capacity.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it was such a fascinating moment in time. Like, I love the thought that you, right when everything came back, and then partially in, and then more in, and then fully in, and you're just kind of watching everybody kind of get back their game on how to be a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, it was a real great experience for me to try and capture that.
Well, and the beautiful honesty of everybody. I thought that was amazing that they were so open with, you know, their struggles and just realistically where they are in that moment.
Yeah, comics don't like to be seen as what they call bombing. And it was like 6 months of bombing because like crowds were terrible. They were doing it outside. Even when it was inside, it was like 30% capacity. And they, you know, it was for them to appear vulnerable. I really commend them for allowing me to shoot that and see that.
Yeah, that was so special. And, you know, even some of them were just like, I don't like to see myself in the plastic that's in front of me while I'm talking to people, like just things you wouldn't think about that would obviously throw someone off their game.
Oh, totally. Yeah. It was a challenge. It was a challenge to shoot it and a challenge for them to be funny in that time. Yeah.
If anybody's wondering, I dropped a link. That full documentary is on YouTube.
Oh,
It's really,
thank you.
really great. Highly recommend it. It's called Full Capacity. Actually, this is time. We're going to move on to the third pose. So everybody post your work, hashtag illustration isolation, and tag Matthew at Salacuse. I'll drop it in the chat if you just joined and you don't know the tags. But please share it. Would love to see your artwork. We're going to check it out at the end of the night. And our Visualized Passage reposts everybody's art. So be sure to share it. It's really cool.
Yeah. Did you see last week that Byron Bowers posted like 20 of your work or 20
I
plus?
love it.
So cool of him. So cool.
That was awesome. I love that. Yeah. Do you, on the topic of bombing, do you enjoy, do you take any interest in watching a comedian bomb?
Oh, very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually never. Are there times where some of those comedians come off stage and they claim that they've bombed, but you're like, nah, I mean, it wasn't like, I don't know. I would feel like the definition of bombing, is it pretty night and day?
What between
Is it pretty obvious when somebody bombs?
Oh yeah. And it's usually what's crazy is my pal Mark Norman, who's a comic. He opened for Amy Schumer at Carnegie Hall.
Yeah.
And it's like the crowd is ready to laugh and like everything's perfect for comedy there. It's huge room. Everyone's in suits. You know, he comes out, he does his thing, tears the house down before Amy. Amy comes in, tears it down again. Mark's like, I'm riding such a high. I got to go to a club and do another set. He runs to another set. Same material bombs. in front of like 40 people, and he's like, I don't understand comedy. Like, how could I just kill at Carnegie Hall and then like in front of 40 people? I'm like, he's like sweating and
Oh really? And does
same
that,
same exact material. He's like, he said comedy is humbling, and that's what's good about it.
that's so interesting. I would, because that was going to be my next question. Is I was like, do you ever see those guys bomb?
Oh
And
yeah.
how do they handle it? Do they brush it off, or do they take it pretty
Some people
sensitively?
have a strange reaction where they attack the crowd.
Really?
Yeah, like, you people don't get this, and oh, Sam had a funny line in the special because it was early on, and he's like doing jokes, and it's just like a low murmur of laughs, and he's like, "What's going on here? Did everyone just get fired?" So that's what it felt like. It felt like everyone's just in a bad mood,
Yeah.
and that people sort of attack the crowd sometimes. Other times people just take their beating, and they're just like, "All right, it's not my night."
I feel like crowd work has become a lot more popular since social media has become more part of them growing.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Because like
Yeah.
it's like the perfect snippet. It's always different.
Oh, great point. And you're not what they call burning material. Like, if you release something online or on the Tonight Show, that's considered burned, and you don't do it again
Yeah.
because you want to keep it fresh. But like doing crowd work, you can just reinvent it every day.
Mhm. Yeah. And I've noticed that, like all the comedians that I really enjoy, like that's most of their content they're putting out, it seems like, or at least recently it seems like it, other than their specials, right? But yeah.
I was going to say there's a little bit of kinship to what we do because we bomb a lot. So there's
Yeah, John, you were worked up last week because of because
I was really bothered because I had no idea Matthew was going to actually be here. And I did I was trying some new materials, and I was horrified of what was happening on my drawing board.
Did you get like that flop sweat?
Yeah, I'm telling you, it happens. We bomb too.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
There's just some weeks where like it just doesn't work, and you're like, oh, and I'm just gonna do it in front of everybody.
Matthew, I did want to say this, and I wanted to be a little bit, I don't know how much you know about the people that are in here, but I'm going to just kind of walk around the room a bit. Chris Payne, Chris, can you use your mic? How many times have you been on the cover of Time magazine?
I'm not sure, about 8 or 9.
Whoa.
Yeah. I mean, he is one of the most iconic illustrators in the history of illustration.
Legendary.
Legend. I'm very
In my
fortunate.
own mind.
Yeah. We are so fortunate to have him here. And I just wanted you to know that Dale Stefanos, Cassandra, Bill, everybody has made a substantial career with their art. It's not notable like maybe a comic, it's people on the street don't know who they are. Probably not as public as photography either. But there's a strong kinship. A lot of the public, a lot of the magazines, a lot of the editorial work that's done. That we share that territory, that ground. I don't think that. Anyway, I just wanted you to know that there's
I really appreciate
there's
that.
some
Thank
really
you.
substantial individuals in this room, and I would certainly put you in that category. I love looking at your photography. You made my life a lot easier today when you started sending over all that work and say, use this one, because I was just like a total conundrum. I couldn't decide what to do or what to use. My job is to choose the photography for the evening. And
You're doing a great job. So, and this is just, the work is just stunning.
there's some good artists in here.
Yeah.
There's some amazing artists in the audience, as you saw last week. I'm always just blown away by what I see. So many different interpretations by the people who join us. Anyway, I said my piece. I just wanted to let you know that of some of my friends and colleagues that are in here are just I'm amazed at them. I'm amazed they come in and draw with us every week.
Well, thank you for using my work. I'm honored.
Oh my gosh,
It's awesome.
it's amazing.
Yeah, you make this work and you don't know, like, who is going to appreciate it, or you just put it out there in the world, and then it's up to the rest of the world to interpret it.
Chris,
Do you ever find that you're, this is Chris Payne, do you ever find that sometimes you feel like you're almost your own worst judge of your own work? A piece that you think is terrific, somebody's going, eh. Whereas another piece you may not feel as strongly about, they're gushing.
Yeah, so I had this epiphany, and it was like, what makes a piece iconic? And it's like, this picture of DMX is just as good as someone else's that was with him, a week earlier, like me and Jonathan Mannion. What made his work more iconic than mine? And the truth is, it's eyeballs. It's who gets to see it and how many people get to see it. Like, I was fortunate enough to be working for magazines at the time that got a lot of eyeballs on it. So people are like, this picture of Mos Def is iconic. This is the most iconic picture of Mos Def. I'm like, that's because you saw it, when you were in high school or when you were, impressionable, and it got seen quite a bit, like this one. So yeah, I think it's a combination of things that's within your control and a combination of things that are outside of your control.
Mm-hmm. It's funny too. Do you ever find that you take, a similar shot of someone and one really hits and the other, for whatever reason, doesn't?
Yes. Yeah.
I saw, Mark Seliger's photo of Kurt Cobain, the one.
Mm-hmm.
He's got an almost identical photo of Tom Petty.
Oh, that's funny.
And
yeah.
They're both equally as beautiful, but
it's black and white 4x5, that one.
I'm sorry?
Is it black and white and 4x5?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I know the one. Yeah, that's funny.
I'm sure musicians have a similar thing. It's like, this is basically the same song as the one in the other album, but
I tell my wife that all the time. Like, we're watching like an oldies video channel, and it's a song by like Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark that we've never heard before. And I'm like, she's like, this is terrible. I was like, this is just as good as the one you like. You just didn't hear this one.
Yeah, it's not connected to a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this the first OMD reference in your drawing class?
For sure.
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. You've connected with Dale with Dale, you're Mr. Hairband of illustration isolation.
Hairband. Well, Timmy doesn't know the difference between hair bands and hard rock bands of the 80s. So I just let him go on with.
I've learned, Dale. I did the homework after I got correct.
Van Halen, hair band or hard rock band?
Hard rock band.
Oh, nice, Timmy. Nice.
Yeah, that's
that sounded like a guess, though.
It was definitely a guess. There was a multiple choice.
Continue.
The pencil hovered for a moment. Guns N' Roses, hair band or hard rock band?
Hard rock.
Okay.
For sure, hard rock. I'm confident in that. While they
although I would say their first album, it is hard rock, but if you look at Axl's hair, it could be confused.
Yep, that's a good point.
It was super teased, like he was leaning into the trend that was just dying.
When they started, Pantera looked like that.
Really?
Yes, Phil Anselmo, the singer, he had the hair. He was in the high voice. Crazy.
I photographed Dimebag.
Oh, really?
The year I photographed him twice, but I photographed him for the cover of, what was that magazine called? Guitar World magazine.
Yeah.
And then we hit it off so much. He was like, you should come photograph me. You should come to my Christmas party. I was like, I live in New York. He was like, I was like, yeah, where is it? I thought it was in New York. He was like, it's in Texas. I was like, oh. So I was like, this is what rock stars do. I should be a rock star. I'm going to go. And I went. And I was like, this is going to be a blowout. Like drugs, like stripper pole. It was just family. They were handing out presents.
Oh, you got there all primed and it's like, Merry Christmas.
Everybody's in a tacky Christmas sweater.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go up in your black leather jacket.
Yeah. Oh,
I
my
did a
God.
story about it posthumously for Vice.
Oh,
where
really?
I wrote a story about it, and it's called, I think it's called Dimebag's Last Christmas, if you want to link it.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's cool.
It was a Christmas before he died.
He was
Oh, wow.
amazing. He was amazing.
And if the person wants to call Cap, that's fine. There was drugs involved in that story too, but
I'm so sorry. Yeah, here, I'm gonna drop a link to it. I found it pretty quick.
Thanks.
It comes up fast.
I'm gonna click
Yeah.
it.
All right, Dale, can you tell your Lemmy story again?
Oh, yeah. I was in a lot of bands in Boston in the 80s, and we might have been opening for them. And by opening, I mean they were the headliners, and like we were playing at 7:30. So, you know, I use the term very loosely. But Motorhead was playing at this club in Boston, and we were hanging around. My brother and I were hanging around the stage door and back. You know, big metal, you know, club door. And of course, I'm standing right in front of the door, and the door comes flying open, and I just get knocked out cold. I mean, just cold. And I wake up, and there's Lemmy from Motorhead standing over me, and he's like, "Well, looks like he's all right," and just wanders away. I think he might have been worried he killed me, so that's probably why he hung around.
Because as soon as
Oh,
he
it's
knew you were alive,
incredible.
I didn't even think about that. The most amazing thing is that he stuck around.
That's kind of the point. Yeah, it's like, I
Yeah.
can't believe you're still here, dude.
Did you wake up a little starstruck and concussed?
Part of me thought I was either in heaven or in hell, but
Yeah.
either way, the music was going to be, you know, to my liking.
I like that you were both surprised to see each other. He's like, he's surprised you're alive, and you're surprised to see Lemmy.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
So I have to ask this question. I'm trying to think of similarities with photography, doing portraits of famous people and shooting, you know, photography of famous people. Chris, would some of the art directors be the same, or would be a photo editor, or like if you were working for Fred Woodward, who would that be? Something totally different with the photography.
Yeah, it's a photo editor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You asked Chris though, so what am I doing?
Well, I didn't know with Rolling Stone if
no, usually, you know, sometimes they may send you some pictures, but a lot of times not really. I remember I had to do a picture of Eddie Vedder for one of those back articles. And
explain that a little bit, Chris.
photos.
Chris, explain that a little bit. And how many of the, I mean, how long did you do that? I mean, you did so many of those.
Well, this goes back a long time. And so, I mean, you know, I haven't worked with Rolling Stone since Fred and Gail left. It was sort of like, you know, when they left, the trap door opened and I disappeared.
I know, but
Sometimes that's the way the business works. And anyway, but I just remember getting this job. They're supposed to do this picture of Eddie Vedder. And so I'm telling them, look, I don't have any pictures in file. And this is all before the internet. So, you know, I can't find pictures. You got to help me with pictures. And they sent me this one photograph that was obviously like one of these studio photos of him, but he's sort of like singing, but it's a studio shot. You can see, and it's terrible. And I'm going, how am I going to do this? And I said, you got to get some other shots. And apparently the band would not pose for any photos, which is why they contacted me. And I said, so I had to, as they say, you know, make the silk purse out of the sow's ear, so to speak. And, you know, I did the best I could, and I guess it went okay. It actually did run. But years later, I'm at a Cincinnati Reds ball game. Sorry to bring the baseball in here, Timmy, but apparently Eddie Van Halen, or not, I mean, not Eddie Van Halen, Eddie Vedder is friends with this guy who's a first base coach for the Chicago Cubs. He's a big Cubs fan. Unbeknownst to me, he was sitting down in about 2 rows in front of us at the ball game. And I was wondering, who they're going up with this little guy getting autographs. Who is that? And they said it was Eddie Vedder. And I went, oh shit. So my friends went up to get his autograph, and I went up and said, I had to do your portrait for Rolling Stone. They couldn't find any good photos because they said you wouldn't pose for me any. I said, what was the problem? What's your problem here? Because if you didn't like the picture I did, I'm sorry, but what I had to work with was crap. And he said that what happened was, when they started to get big, it was like meteoric.
Yeah.
I mean, they hit and they exploded. And he said they were getting calls for everything, all this stuff. And the band said, we got to just simply stop. We're losing control of what we're doing.
Wow.
And so they shut it down. And so for a while, I don't know, Matthew, have you ever had that kind of, some person that you're photographing all of a sudden is hitting it so big that they're having a difficulty dealing with this kind of meteoric star rise?
No, because I mean, this wasn't me. They were in a room with someone like you're describing. I won't see who it was. And they said the person was giving all sorts of attitude, like I shouldn't be here or whatever. And the photographer said, look, at some point, someone put a piece of paper in front of you, you signed it, you agreed to be here, just be here. And that disarmed the person who was being diva-ish. It was a man. Was it Devo? He was being Devo-ish.
Right.
So it's just sometimes you do have to check the person if they're giving you too much attitude. But like people like me, I put up a lot of attitude, because if we turn in nothing, it's our butts on the line. We're like, hey, Eddie Vedder was a jerk and I couldn't do it. They don't. They blame you. They don't blame him.
Right. Well, there's another person Fred told me about. I will not mention his name. He agreed to the photo shoot. He just said that whoever was taking his picture could not be in the same room with him.
That's awesome.
Well, that's
So
complicated.
He was sitting in a restaurant in the photograph, and the person photographed him through the window.
Wow. Man.
And this guy's like a legend, but he's legendary for being eccentric too.
Okay.
As Bob Dylan.
That sounds like a Bob Dylan request.
It does sound like Bob Dylan. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll let you take my photos, but it has to be taken by a child or something. Right.
My friend was on an assistant job when he was his photographer was shooting Prince.
Yeah.
And Prince said, no one on the set could look me in the eyes.
Oh God.
I know. So my friend he had his back to Prince when he was like loading the cameras like this. And he would hand the cameras to the photographer. He had his back to him like this, kept doing this. And then one time he just turned around and handed the camera like this, and Prince was staring at him.
God.
Matthew, I used to do a lot of photo assisting, and I only ended up on set like a handful of times with big personalities like that like had teams of people representing them. Do you often deal with like the rundown before the shoot of rules that are like, these are the expectations of this person? And
I don't get a lot of that. What was your experience?
My experience was that, which was just like, it kind of othered the crew, kind of, right? Similar to like, don't make eye contact like that. Don't shake hands. Don't talk to them unless they talk to you, which is generally kind of a good photo assistant rule. But
yeah, I've had to, I tell that, I mean, I don't feel great about it, but I tell it to my third assistants on set, because they're usually the youngest and they haven't been on a set. Yeah. So my first assistants can do whatever they want because they'll use good judgment because they've been on sets. Second assistants, same. But third assistants are green, and you sort of have to tell them, and they're young, so you have to tell them, be like, all right, I know it's gonna be tempting to walk up to Ben Affleck, but don't do it.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they just do it. They're like, "Hi, I'm Janine." You know, like, "Oh, I just want you not to say anything."
Oh, no.
It's
Yeah.
just like it's just young people. Like I was the same way. I was probably the same exact way.
Yeah.
You know, to think you could make it as a photographer at 20 years old, it's like you need some brass.
Right.
So
I was on a set with a famous golfer who, well, we were on a golf course. This is before Trump. This is before 2016 and all that. So it was on. We were down in Florida, and this famous golfer he thought it was funny to drive shots over the crew.
that's not funny.
Yeah, he thought it was so fun, and people were like, guys, it's not that big of a deal. He's a professional athlete. He has such precision. And it was like, you'd be like, oh my God. like it was, but they were just like, he couldn't mess up. And it was like one of the guys, I think it was like the gaffer that was, or I don't know who was there. He was just like, because coincidentally, like 3 days later, this guy totally biffed it at some competition. And he was like, oh, wow, it would have been nice if he had brought that precision to his game. Yeah, but that was it. But this joke isn't as funny now because of Donald Trump's whole story, but we were told to wait for Donald Trump because he wanted a photo with this photographer. And at this time, Trump we just all knew him as the Apprentice host. And he was probably going to be the most famous person that I ever met. And I was the assistant. And this was, as a joke, I convinced the photographer that I was obsessed with The Apprentice. And it scared the shit out of him. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep my act together. I've watched every episode of The Apprentice.
Oh my God.
And he was like, get off of the set. I was like, I'm just joking.
My friend Peter Yang is a great photographer. You should look him up as well. He would love to do this if you would have him. He once photographed Trump. This is Apprentice days. So this is not a political story at all. So this is no cap. He was photographing at his Trump Tower, and he used his now claim to fame is he used Trump's private bathroom, which is a all gold toilet.
So it really is gold, all gold.
At what point
and
did the pipes
Peter
become
defiled it? I don't know if I should say it. Yeah, Peter used it.
He made sure it wasn't all gold after he was.
Oh no. All the glitters is not gold.
Oh man. This is the raunchiest episode.
Sorry, guys.
No, you know what? This happens when I bring on photographers I love.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry at all. Love this is from Jackie. Love your stories, Matthew. Thanks for sharing them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No cap.
Yeah, Timmy, we're kind of setting the bar a little too high here.
Yeah, like I think
which really
we
quickly,
on our own often.
really
You should have
quickly,
Peter or Chris Buck on. They're great storytellers too.
really, yeah. Did I tell everybody to move on to the last pose? I think I did.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Cool. I just want to make sure. So it's either Killer Mike or Billie Eilish and Phineas. Yeah.
This question is a good one, and it's appropriate for the thing you're painting right now. It says, Matthew, how do you approach artificial lighting on location? Any tips or advice? King Cool Photo was no, that was continuous lighting. That was lighting in the room. Also, the picture of Killer Mike, is it the one where he's kind of going like this? That is just fluorescent light above his head. So if you look at the lighting on me here, it's hold on a second.
Wow.
Like, this is what overhead lighting looks like.
Yeah.
If you do this, it makes it nicer. So just tell your subject to kind of put their head up a little bit.
Huh.
And it doesn't cause those awful shadows. So I hope that answered the question.
do you not use strobes or you're?
Oh yeah, all the time. But like I like sort of like in between moments. So like I'll just say, "Oh, can I grab a shot of you right here?" And this is what I did with Killer Mike. And so it wasn't even part of the shoot. I was just like, "Oh, this is great. This wall's great. Can I take a picture?" And since the lighting had that weird low lighting, I just said, tip your head up a little bit, and they blew smoke out, and it got caught.
That's awesome. I've always wondered that, like if that's a trick to not a trick, but a good technique to get something at the end or in between when they're not
Totally.
concentrating.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't like the the total pose moment where the person's like giving you the artifice of what they're trying to sell. I like to sort of get something in between that.
Do you direct them? Are you good at that or?
No, I'm not good at it. I sort of like I heighten whatever's happening. So if someone is doing something, I'll be like, do a little more of that, what you're doing. Like if they're blowing smoke, I'll be like, blow a little higher, and I'll get that.
So if they're doing like a $140 down the highway in Miami, you're like, go a little faster. That's good.
Just pray. Yeah.
Wow, that's
By the way, I have a picture of the odometer. I don't know if it's on my site, but
that is a
at
ride.
125 and 135.
I believe you.
Okay.
do you? I didn't notice any of your photos having heavy retouching ever, really, right?
No, I think it's because I come from like a documentary background that and people told me this is gonna hurt you.
Yeah.
Like they're like you're not gonna get a photo rep. You're not gonna get people aren't gonna want to shoot with you again.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, people are full of bad advice.
That's a really good. I've never heard it. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but the people are full of bad advice. It's I mean, I don't want to focus on negativity, but like John, Dale, I mean, like you guys deal with students a lot of time, like kind of saying like what advice is good, what advice is bad, like what they're just like trying to follow some type of compass. It's a hard part of building a career. I mean, because Matthew, it sounds like there've been like a couple times where people are like, you're going the absolute wrong way. And from looking at your portfolio, it doesn't look like they have that at all. Is
it the same in illustration?
John, Dale, just that like it's easy to be misdirected, I guess, or being told to.
I think when you're starting out, you want answers, and that you can get a lot of information, but you've really got to find your own way. I mean, you should load up with as much good information as possible, but after a while, it's just like go do the work and figure a lot of it out. I mean,
Also know your own strengths and weaknesses.
yeah, and work your weaknesses, right?
Oh yeah,
Capitalize.
absolutely. You got to fix them.
Yeah, capitalize on the strengths. And what were your real strengths when you were starting out?
Adaptation. I was able to figure things out on set
wow.
in a room with somebody. And if something goes wrong, and something always goes wrong, being able to move with it and not just, well, I don't know if I figured this out or someone told me early on. They're like, oh no, someone definitely told me. They said, when you're shooting someone, they don't know when you've made a mistake. Because they don't understand the camera, they don't understand the technology of the camera connected to the computer or whatever.
Don't look at the camera and say, oh shit.
Exactly. So like if you're sweating, they'll feel that. So like just keep moving with it, try something else. Just like, okay, we're gonna move on, try this. Not, oh fuck, fix my camera or whatever it is. Yeah.
Right.
Has a shoot ever just gone south, for technical reasons?
Technical reasons and time reasons. I was photographing what's his name? It was a big Reebok campaign, and it was in Miami with Rick Ross.
Oh, wow.
And he was we were way behind schedule, and they said I was just shooting stills on back of the video. So like they do the whole commercial shoot, and then they call you and they're like, all right, Salacuse, you've got 15 minutes to get the shot. And since we were so far behind, they're like, scrapping the photos. You're done for the day. And I was like, I set this whole thing up. Like I got the light streaming through the window, and and I was like, I don't even need them to like, stay long. I could, if he stood in this one spot and I took 20 pictures like that, I get it. And they're like, we don't have time. You can put your cameras away. And I was like, well, he's got to go from his trailer to the set. And I'm right in between. I was like,
Can you walk by?
I was like, can you ask him to stop? And they're like, no. I was like, can you ask him to walk slowly? And they're like, yeah. So he walks slowly. I'm like, it's a billboard. It's a campaign. It's all over the world. It's like,
Get out of here.
yeah.
So you did like the paparazzi, basically. Just
It was my lighting setup, and I'd set it up to happen that way. But like everything was working against me.
Wow.
They will still be like, I can still get it.
What
I
era
mean, of course, I'm sure they patted themselves on the back, being like, "We're geniuses."
Yeah. They really got the best out of you. That's what they're
Yeah,
thinking.
exactly.
You've got to
What
know how to
era
get the
Rick
best out of
Ross
a
was
photographer.
What was that, Dale?
You've got to know how to get the best out of your photographer.
Yeah,
That's probably what they were
exactly.
telling themselves, right?
Who was the person that you were most intimidated to photograph?
Oh man, that's a great question. I'm not really good at these like worst person, best person.
Well, yeah, just more of like you showed up and you were a little Star Trek and having to.
I get that like on every shoot. I get that on every shoot, even if it's
Really?
something small. Just like that's because you have to deliver something, and no matter who it is, I still have to deliver the photo. So I try not to get starstruck, or I just see the job ahead of me rather than the person.
Wow.
Because I feel like I live with my foot in my mouth, so it amazes me you can just like show up and just be like,
Oh.
yeah, I'm gonna get your photo.
I say dumb stuff all the time. I'm yeah.
I would have if I had met as many. Oh no. My fire alarm. My fire alarm was going off. Sorry. I was saying if I had met as many people as you have, I just know that there would be so many things I would stay up late at night being like, I can't believe I said that to Jay-Z.
No, all the time. This happens all the time.
That would just like, I would rather not meet Jay-Z by fear of just, God, I don't want to ruin. I just know I would mess it up. But is there anybody you haven't photographed that's like on your list of, I just hope I can one day shoot that?
Yeah, I mean, Paul McCartney and Bob Dylan, Paul Simon. I know these are like people from my mother's generation. Hi, Mom. But like these are the people that I was listening to in the house when I was growing up, and they're like become my favorite musicians as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'd sort of like to do that.
Yeah. That's amazing. I mean, that's really, yeah, obviously they're clearly, that would be an amazing.
Yeah.
But also I just gotta imagine it's like, if you were, when you first picked up a camera, if you knew that you were going to photograph the people you photographed, would you just, I mean, what would 18-year-old Matthew say?
He would believe it. He would have believed it.
Really? You had that.
I love that.
That's awesome.
That's great. So do you always have the vision? That's amazing.
No. I mean, I'm less confident today.
Yeah.
That's just like the brashness of a 20-year-old.
Yeah, of course. That's on my vision board. So why would it not happen? Right. Yeah. Man. Here's a question for you from Sebastian. What are some key elements or things you look for when using ambient light on location to ensure it's going to be what you want?
Yeah, shadows. I look for shadows. Like if you see the light on me, it's not that great. It's like very shadow heavy on this side. So if I'm using ambient light here, I'd like bring in a white board.
Yeah,
I have one. Just even a piece of white paper would work.
Mm-hmm.
See the side of my face got fuller. So like just use the lights, but like if you have something like a reflector or something like that, you put it under here. It helps the shadows under the eyes as well.
Which, if we have any new people drawing with us tonight, it's like, John, how important is it to be able to create good reference for your art?
Huge. First thing I teach in foundations is effective lighting. What is the best way for light to describe form, to draw the figure, head, or whatever you're drawing? And lighting is huge. And being able to shoot your own reference in this industry is huge too. So not with very seldom does an illustrator have the opportunity of shooting his famous celebrity. It has happened. I've shot a couple of like sports figures before that were important.
Brad Holland has that great Stevie Ray Vaughan story. Stevie came to his studio.
Really? I've never heard that.
Yeah, for his first album. It sounded like one of your stories, Matthew. I guess, whoa, John, that's looking awesome, man.
Yeah, it is.
He was supposed to show up, at 10 o'clock at night or whatever, and never showed up. And then like 7 o'clock the next morning, he gets a call. It's like, Stevie's ready. Okay. So when he got there, I guess Stevie was, I could be getting some of this wrong, but I guess Stevie was not really feeling it. So Brad got something to drink and loosened him up and took some shots, and that's
That's great.
yeah, that's how they got it done. But I guess he had a studio down in
So
yeah.
So Matt, do you have any, so did I hear right? You had a documentary film background?
No, no, I just started doing film during the pandemic, but I'm a documentary
okay. Oh, wow.
photographer. Documentary photographer were my roots in school.
Okay. Who were some of your photo heroes?
Eugene Richards, W. Eugene Smith,
Oh, yes.
Susan Meiselas,
Mm-hmm.
Marilyn Mark,
Mm-hmm.
Robert Frank. Yeah, I mean, just William Klein, just all these like great New York street photographers. Yeah, that was my thing, street photography. It's a funny story. If we have a second, I can tell a story about how I got my first job at New York Magazine.
Yeah.
Okay. Love it.
My wife is a photo editor now, and I work there less now that she works there. So this is in the 90s, and they had this thing called the shot page, which was just a street photograph, and then it said time and date. It was like 34th and 8th, 2:36 p.m. and it was just like an amazing photograph. And they had great photographers shooting it. Bruce Gilden, Jeff Mermelstein, great photographers, great New York guys. So I was like, I want to do this. So this is the era of the phone, and I called the photo editor, and I said, I was like, hi, this is Matthew Salacuse, just graduated at NYU, and I was like, I'd love to shoot your shot page. They're like, okay, thanks. And they hung up. And I was disheartened, but my father was a door-to-door salesman, so I knew, like, you don't give up, at the first no. So I called back, and I was like, I know you just hung up with me, but I want to tell you that this is Matt Salacuse, and I'm going to send you a shot page every week until you hire me. And they're like, okay, thank you, bye. And then it began. I would take a picture, I'd go to the dark room, I'd make it, I'd put the time and date on it, put his name on it, put a stamp on it, and send it to him. I did this for 8 to 10 weeks, just, it's over and over again. And I finally got a call like on the 8th or 10th week, I can't remember, it was 8 or 9 maybe, 9th week. And he was like, are you the guy who keeps sending me the shot page? I put my beeper number on it. That's how I'm like, my beeper number on it. And he was like, are you the guy? I got the beep, and I called him back. He's like, are you the guy who keeps sending me a shot page? And I was like, yes. And he was like, I got a job for you. I was like, shot page? And he was like, no, there's an heirloom tomato festival at Union Square Park, and you shoot it. I was like, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Sure, I'll do it.
Love heirlooms.
I was hoping you would say that. That was my jam.
Yeah.
Did you get the shot page afterwards?
Never got it.
No.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
But I've been playing the long game. My wife is now the photo editor there.
that's a super long invested game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Does your because you have one son, right?
Mhm.
Does he know how cool you are?
So this is funny. No, and he never will understand it. But something really funny happened. I photographed this guy on Tuesday. His name is Ben Platt. He's a Broadway guy.
Oh yeah, I love
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
I just posted it to my Instagram today.
Uh-huh.
And I shot him on Tuesday. And my kid goes to school right here in Midtown, and they've been studying Into the Woods.
Mhm.
And some of the cast came in to speak to them, and that
No
was
way.
nice. I know. So then Tuesday night, he is going with my wife. This last Tuesday. No, sorry, last week. Sorry, last week. He was going to see it, and he did. And he came back, and it was like 9 p.m. and I'm sitting there furiously editing the shoot with Ben.
Yeah.
And he comes in. This is a 6-year-old. He comes in and he says, he looks at the computer. He's like, "That guy sat in front of me tonight."
Oh my gosh.
I was like, "No." I was like, "No." And Stacy, my wife, was like, "Yeah, it was him." I was like,
Wow.
"Charlie, how did you know?" He was like, "Because they kept saying Ben, Ben." So that was the only time I was like a little cool in his life. In his eye.
Matthew, he'll figure it out. I promise
I don't
you.
think so.
I have the reverse. I have a father who was very successful as an illustrator, painter.
And do you appreciate him today?
Oh man, in high school, he did the cover of the Tommy the Who rock opera album.
No.
And it was like, I didn't realize until that point when that album came out who he was. And he was, I think,
He's a legend.
oh yeah, he was a legend. And I became much cooler because of that. And,
Wow.
and he became cool to me.
Then there's hope. What a great story.
Yeah,
Well, even John Denver emulated his clothes.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Brent tells this great story about Mark went to go photograph John Denver to do his album, right, John? You know the story better than me.
He was doing an album cover and he met him, and my father was wearing a like tuxedo shirt and a pair of jeans. And John Denver called it a night shirt, evening shirt. And he ended up doing 3 covers for him, of albums for him. And then he didn't see him again till years later. And actually he was with your father, Timmy, on the Calypso, the Jacques Cousteau, when they brought the Calypso up the Potomac. And John Denver saw my father, and he had commented on his clothes that day, how odd it was. He thought it was really unusual. And that day when he saw him, John was wearing the exact same thing.
That's a riot.
Yeah, he thought,
That's amazing.
yeah.
Well,
They became good friends.
yeah.
It was an interesting relationship. He used to call my father and sing the music to him over the phone to describe what the album was going to be. And
Wow.
some of my father's most romantic experiences of being an artist. He really, really, really enjoyed that.
So cool. So cool.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think your kid's gonna figure it out, Matthew.
But like, what's
Figure it
JD to a 6-year-old, or even like in 10 years, what's he gonna be like? Oh yeah, that was cool. In like the 2000s. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I think
Let's
that
hope. That story gave me hope.
some of the people you photographed have some longevity to them.
That's true. That's true.
Just tell him the DMX story. That's, that blows mine.
You know, he's gonna be like this. Dad, this is Cap.
And you just made me mess up my drawing. Laughing. Can't draw anymore.
Oh man, I'm gonna give everybody in the crowd 5-minute warning. We're gonna move to we pull up Instagram at the end of the show. So 5 minutes. Start posting your work to Instagram. John usually takes a minute to quit drawing and get over to that. But
Well, I have.
Actually, I'm done.
Yeah.
I wish we could use Matthew's photographs all the time because I don't have to think about anything. I just have to copy the photograph.
No,
Beautiful, beautiful design, beautiful composition and all.
Yeah.
that.
I
Nice comment.
know,
Thank you.
so great.
You
What
make
were
it, you make it easy.
thank you all so much.
What were you gonna say, Matthew?
Oh, I've got a cold dinner sitting at the table, so I'm gonna bid you
Oh.
guys adieu.
Oh, thank you so much. So much.
Thank you,
appreciate coming in.
Matthew.
Thank you,
Oh,
Matthew.
Appreciate you all so much. Thank you.
Really
Thanks.
appreciate it.
All right, see y'all.
Some great stories.
Total.
Yeah.
Total cap, all cap.
I didn't know, I don't know about this cap.
No cap, all cap. Yeah, it's no. Ray has been
Silent.
suspiciously quiet.
But
who
his
was that
piece
guy
looks
again?
awesome.
Is Ray here? I didn't even know he was here.
Who was that guy again?
Ray, your mic's a little soft. Little soft. Ray's been here like for an hour, hour and a half.
Hey, Ray.
I kept thinking if only
Hey,
Ray
everyone.
was here.
I got yelled at the last time I was here. Before logging in, I was pre-yelled at. So
No,
by Timmy.
don't put that on me. You're trying to get the
Ray, that's just how they say hello.
you're just trying to get the Bonilla sympathizers to attack me.
I yelled at Timmy earlier for
Yeah.
you, Ray. So
Okay, well that's good.
Yeah.
That was-
Bonilla,
I screamed at him on behalf of Ray Bonilla. Cease.
the Bonilla hive. Yeah, it's the live brush hive. Yeah,
Yeah.
we
High
had
brush.
we had a live brush listener in here calling bull on the story.
On cap, yeah, on cap on all the stories, yeah,
Yeah, that was definitely a live brush listener. I
yeah.
could
That
tell.
it probably was. That's probably
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, because most of our listeners tune in are generally supportive of what we're doing.
Yeah, we are polite.
Yeah, they appreciate that. It's
Audience.
free. We've been doing it for like 2 years. Do you think all of us all feel great every Thursday, no matter what? Yeah.
I love how out of all the times, out of all the stories we've shared with each other, half of which over probably roughly 95% of which are completely fabricated. This is the only time we've ever heard it, seen an audience member question the validity of the story. That's
The guy
rare.
has
That's
a
rare.
photo series on his website that is like detailed.
And it also ran in Esquire.
His story was published in a major publication of note. Yeah, man, cutthroat listeners on Live Brush. Don't send them our way anymore.
Listen, they believe everything we tell them. So
Yeah, it's like Fox News versus CNN at this point. we don't listen to illustration isolation.
yeah.
So everybody, just a reminder, post your work to Instagram. It's illustration isolation, and definitely tag the photographer at Salacuse. We're gonna be John's gonna be pulling that up any second now. That was a lot of fun. I hope everybody listening had fun doing that. That was a deviation from the usual.
Well, I hope the audience understands how much fun it was for us. I mean,
Yes, cool.
I really, really enjoyed that. I hope you recognize. I hope Matthew recognizes how much respect we have for him too. I love good photography. Great photography.
It's good to switch it up, and every Thursday, most of the panel is very accessible. And so a lot of the questions, maybe we weren't talking too much about illustration tonight, but it's not every Thursday we get a photographer, especially of Matthew's status in here. So that was really special.
Thanks for being patient with us, but at least I know Timmy and I talked about it a lot. It's like something we were really excited about.
Oh yeah, I'm just geeking out the whole time hearing these stories. It's delightful.
I did. I wrote down on my notepad that's from Gianna. It says, it takes a big heart to teach little minds.
Oh my God.
So this is my illustration isolation notepad now. And I wrote down my questions, and like every other question, I just finally was like, what's Rihanna like? I just want to be like, well, what's Rihanna like? What's ASAP Rocky like? What was Jay-Z like?
Well, hearing him talk about like the third assistants and what they're not supposed to do. And I was like, oh, I would so be the third assistant, being like, I can't make eye contact and say hi. And I'll be like, hi.
Cassandra, you wouldn't be there.
I know, I wouldn't even be there. I wouldn't be allowed to come in.
Cassandra, you're not going to be able to be there today.
Let's be honest. Would anyone be on this panel be allowed on set?
I doubt it. Maybe Chris.
Yeah,
Maybe
I was gonna
Chris.
say maybe Chris.
What about me, the guy with the photography background?
You showed the notepad, Timmy. You showed the notepad.
I showed the notepad.
Yeah, definitely not you then.
Yeah.
Only if you show up in the Jacques Cousteau like wetsuit.
I don't know what to say.
No cap, man. No cap.
No cap. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look up this cap thing because I'm just.
Yeah.
I say what a
That's insane.
surreal evening I'm having, by the way. I was just at like a preschool engineering night, and like we're, stacking marshmallows with toothpicks and knocking blocks over with balls. And then I'm coming here and I'm painting like these amazing musicians and hearing like these great stories. It's just a surreal evening.
I did give a disclaimer for this episode last week, but I probably could have opened the episode with a disclaimer, but next time.
Oh, cool. It's just cool.
Ray, that's really gorgeous.
Yeah, Ray, that's beautiful.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Loving that color.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That was my favorite, Ray. That's my favorite reference for the night. It's been the most fun to paint, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't talk more often. No, that would be horrible.
I think
Well, there's a thought.
Ray's on to something.
Yeah, you said it.
You make it better, Ray.
I let my viewers do the talking and the fact checking. So apparently,
Ray, is it no cap? Is that what you call it?
it's no cap if you're not lying, I guess, and cap if it's right.
Yeah, they'd be like, that's all cap. And then you would say no cap.
I'm just going to use the word lie.
Well, see, I had no idea it was about validity. I heard people saying, no cap, like saying like, I'm not yelling about this.
Mhm.
I'm relaxed, like as if, when you say something with all caps.
Oh,
I thought it was
okay.
an emphasis point. Turns out that I was completely wrong about that. So I went like around probably 11 months thinking no cap meant one thing.
I think my favorite version of this challenge is when somebody tells a story that is clearly not true, and then somebody says, and then everyone applauded. Which is just like, that's not a true story. But the only way it could end is, and then everybody applauded for me. Hey, Chris, could you put your sketchbook more in the frame? I want to see this.
Yeah, I want to see. Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow.
Man, that's
Awesome.
awesome.
That's great.
Thank you.
And we liked it better off frame, Chris, please. At least our egos did. It's still better than mine.
Killer Mike's shoulder is
yeah.
Out
Killer
from
Mike's
front of
shoulder is
you.
better than my
Most
whole
beautiful
thing.
shoulder.
wow.
Oh, wow, Cassandra, that's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
That's so
Beautiful.
Thanks, guys.
Wow. John, you've been working on DMX all night.
Oh
That's
my gosh, the
Wow.
DMX is beautiful, John.
wow.
Yeah.
It's big too. I mean, it's
Wow.
28 by 18, I think.
Wow. The smoke. Oh my gosh. Like the dimension you gave it is gorgeous.
All I did was copy the photograph. I didn't do anything creative at all except draw the photograph. Photograph's beautiful.
John, you ever think when you started this thing that you would end up with the drawing DMX?
Oh, Bill, that's cool.
No, actually I didn't.
Ray, that was the exact same thing. When we both logged in before we went live, John was on and I was on, and John goes, I think my drawing of DMX from this morning is going really well. And I go, do you ever think you're going to be drawing DMX in this?
Yeah.
Actually, I was still drawing DMX. I came back and I started about a half an hour early, was drawing the drawing from this morning of DMX. And I didn't think I'd ever be drawing DMX. I shouldn't say that. I mean, Chris, you're the perfect example. Chris and Dale, we drew people. We've drawn so many people that we never thought we'd ever draw.
Yep.
I've drawn people I didn't know who they were. I mean,
Yeah.
What I love too is that you have to become kind of an expert in about 20 minutes, right? Because I always like to know who these people are. So I'll do a deep dive and try to get at something.
Dale, that's amazing.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
Oh, thanks.
That's awesome, man.
Really, I love
Loving
that.
that smoke, Cassandra.
Oh, thanks.
Is that a Carbothello you're drawing with?
I believe it is. I believe it is. How did you guess?
It's the white tip, the end of it.
That's
the
how.
tilted.
Because I've been drawing with them. Well, are we
I was
ready?
thinking the
Jimmy?
same thing, John.
Ray, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's killer.
No, I keep going back. I got to see these things. Oh, that is beautiful, Ray.
Wow.
Wow. That was a good choice to put his shirt, turn to black and white.
Wow.
Okay, I'm ready to go, Timmy.
Let's do it.
Let's see some awesome work.
Here we go. I have to reposition something here. AJ, very nice.
Oh, wow. Wow, AJ.
Whoa. Great. That's immediate.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, cool.
That's awesome.
Wow, man.
Cool, AJ.
Wow.
Nice.
Really cool.
Tag Salacuse. I'm just telling everybody, if you haven't tagged, definitely tag him.
Oh, that's really nice too.
Whoa.
oh yeah.
Beautiful.
Ooh, that's fun.
Oof.
Chuck,
So great.
Nice, Chuck.
Yeah, Chuck.
Awesome.
I love the cropping of that.
Yeah.
It's too big to fit on the page. I love it.
Oh, really nice.
That was a tough one.
Yeah,
Beautiful job.
that's really good.
Well done.
Yeah. Impressed that she did both too.
Love how they put that shadow in. Yeah, nice.
Good job.
Ooh,
That's cool.
It's awesome.
AJ's experimenting a lot.
Yeah,
Good.
really nice.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah, I like it. Oh, that's fun.
Really cool.
Nice.
Good job.
So many different interpretations of these things.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good drawing.
Good job, Joe.
Nice, Joe.
Oh, nice, Devin.
Very nice.
That's sweet.
Really cool way of handling that.
I love it.
Very good.
Nice.
Nice. Even the billboard.
That's cool. That is nice. A nice stylization to that.
Oh, nice.
Like that one.
I do too. Here you go, Paul.
Oh, really well done.
Nice.
Excellent.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it is. Got the posture so well.
That is really nice. Love the value and color of the shirt. I mean, the
Mhm.
control of it, of all of it. Really well done. Fun.
X gonna give it to you. Listener. That's great.
Really nice. Nice, Sienna.
Great.
Nice. With type this time.
Mhm.
Sweet.
Very good, Sienna.
I knew everyone was gonna do a great job tonight. So
That's
good.
great.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Awesome. I love that.
Very well done.
Oofda.
Nice, Pete.
Oh, that's great.
That's beautiful, Pete. This has been about a Peter
Wow.
Castle day for me. I just got a couple of beautiful pieces from him. They're gorgeous.
Oh, cool.
There you go, Sally.
Sally.
Well done.
Wow. Fun. Cool. 5 minutes.
Wow.
That's awesome. I don't recognize that handle. If you're new,
Oh
welcome.
yeah, that's really good.
That's great.
Man.
Way to go, Peter.
Oh, Beats on fire.
That is really nice.
Nice. Good job, Leslie.
Very well done. Jeff, I really like the one up in the top right. It's well done.
Oh yeah.
And Big Mike or Killer Mike.
I like the killer crew. Oh, that's beautiful.
That is
Love your line work.
good
Nice.
drawing. Oh, wow.
Oof.
Fury.
That's so
Very.
cool.
Wow.
Wow. Took it.
So
in.
good.
Wow.
I thought we were sending him the wrong link.
We tried. We keep
Just,
sending them. We keep sending them to Liebrush. He keeps showing up here. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Ooh.
No
Yeah,
cap.
Ray, you probably recognize him because he was a nice person listening.
Yeah.
he had nice things to say in the chat.
No, our mods would have banned him before that ever would have happened.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Beautiful. I like how I handled the smoke with the line.
Great beard.
Yeah.
He does have a great beard. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very delicate.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Whoa,
so
Yeah, that's
good.
great.
awesome.
So good. Wow.
Very good.
Mhm.
That's fun.
Nice,
Thanks,
Karen.
Karen. Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Good job, Rebecca.
Very nice.
Oh, it's nice.
Jordan.
Yeah.
This is great. Oh, that's fun. All in
Mhm.
one page.
And again,
Another all in one
Nice.
page. Cool.
oh, fun
Yeah.
drawing.
Nice, E-Man.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, there's your husband.
Yep.
Cool.
Oh, it's E-Man?
Yeah. Yeah.
like that.
His full name's Emmanuel, but call him E-Man.
E-Man.
That's interesting.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
Wow. Ocean.
That's cool, Ocean.
That's cool.
Oh,
He-Man, good job again.
Good job. Also imagine 2 5-year-olds like knocking into him the whole time he's drawing them.
There's some competition going under that house.
Oh, he's really good.
I think E-Man might be our next guest.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cassandra, can you watch
Marcy,
your children?
yeah.
Can you watch your children that night so we can?
Yeah. He can be a guest.
Visual Arts
We'll swap.
Passage. You know what? Visual Arts Passage. We'll hire a babysitter.
Okay.
Or I'll see if
Good
I
job,
can get
Marcy.
the babysitter one night so we can both be in.
Yeah, that is nice, Marcy.
Really nice, Mercy.
Wow.
This is great. Woof.
Very good.
I just want to recommend audience members, please like direct message or comment to Matthew. And because we want to continue to do this occasionally with other photographers. And he's been really nice suggesting people for this. Shoot him a message and shoot him a message of appreciation. I really recommend it.
Yeah, he's super responsive and really, really nice. Because I thanked him last week and he was just so excited about everything happening.
And I just want everybody to know, like, I've worked with photographers almost at his level. He's extremely busy, like crazy busy. It's a huge deal. He tuned in, so appreciative of it. Yeah, so
Good job, Felicity.
that's awesome. Nice. Sorry, Felicity's parents.
Oh, I like the person
Listen,
in the background saying hello. Did you see that?
Hello.
And there's is that a mouse fishing?
Yeah. That was when we were on mute.
Oh, Ocean, that's really good.
Yeah.
It is nice, Ocean. Oh, nice.
Beautiful.
That's a nice one.
So is that.
Man, good job, Ryan. Julian, love
Wow,
it.
Julian.
It's awesome.
Julian broke out the color tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fun.
Jeff, that's fun.
That's fun.
Dang. Love it.
Good drawing. Wow,
Oh my gosh.
that is awesome.
Nice.
So great.
That's terrific.
Oh man. You need to tag Killer Mike in that one. You need to. Oh,
Oh, beautifully done.
A lot of
That's
them should be tagging. Killer.
I
Yeah.
know. Tag Killer Mike. I mean, seriously, do it. Yeah, if you didn't tag Salacuse or Killer Mike, go back.
Gosh, everybody's done a phenomenal job tonight.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Another good one, Mike.
Oh, I love that. Gosh, I love that.
Ocean, is that another version of that or?
Nice.
Okay, she says yes, 2 versions.
Very nice.
Oh,
That's great.
That's a lot of fun.
I like that.
Alice did message me. She said, a lot of smoking tonight. I said, yeah, but we never do smoking. And it could be CBD. It could be CBD.
Actually, I had to search for one that wasn't smoking. That was
So
the-
they were
There was one tonight. Good job, Chuck.
Yeah,
very well done.
yeah. This is the smoking episode. Yeah. And
We
it,
Oh,
all,
that's
we all
really
should have
good.
been smoking during it.
yeah.
It's a very nice painting. Love the color in it.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
lovely contrast too.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Man, so many great pieces.
Oh, nice.
Very nice.
Oh, nice. I really like DMX in that.
No,
Oh, that's great.
really
Good
good.
job,
Yeah.
Kristen.
Wow.
like the broken edge.
Mhm.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's great.
Really
Perfect.
nice.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Good job, Jeff. That's
Fun.
great.
That's fun.
Really fun.
I love that she emphasized the boyishness of it.
Yeah, this just makes the contrast of him smoking. So
Yes, yes, exactly. Oh, that's lovely too. Man, you guys
That's
are
nice.
rock stars.
Wow. Oh,
you
awesome.
know,
Nice. Ah,
another good one.
gorgeous.
That one's so
Really
great.
good.
Oh,
that's
cool.
fun.
Yeah,
I love
Nicole.
Oh, Nicole, that's
Nicole,
really
I
nice.
think that's my favorite you've done yet.
Yeah, that's very good.
She did one a couple of weeks ago in the morning that was amazing.
Yeah, she's been working hard and you can tell.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, that's fun. Yes.
Sweet. That chandelier too.
Uh-huh.
Oh, another
Two
chandelier.
chandeliers in a
Wow,
row.
Ocean is on fire tonight.
Way to go, Nicole.
It's killer.
Nice. That's good, Nicole.
Wow.
Oh,
What
cool,
are we
Paul.
doing?
Keep the tag clean, people.
Okay, I think we're at the end.
That was awesome.
It was
Really
so
fun
great.
night.
Like I said, please shoot Matthew a message. It would be a really nice thing to do.
John and Timmy, thank you so much for pulling this together. It was really special.
Timmy did all the work on it. It's
We're
great.
just lucky. It's just the generosity of a total stranger photographer. So that was fun.
So
Doesn't sound shady at all.
Cassandra, Dale, Chris, Bill, Ray, Timmy. Have I missed anybody? I think I got everybody there. Dale, I missed Dale. Yeah, Dale.
Get Chris.
And then, of course, yeah, I did. Said him right after you.
Thanks, John.
You're questioning me. I didn't forget Dale. And then one person I did forget is Matthew. Matthew, thank you so much for the evening. Your story was phenomenal. Your photography, your artwork is beautiful. Thank you for letting us use it. And everybody have a great week. We hope to see you next week.
Thank you, Matthew's mom.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, and Matthew's mom.
all right.
Yeah.
Thanks so
Thank
much,
you,
guys.
everyone.
See you. Chris, thanks, man.
All right, my
Fun talking
pleasure.
to
Good
you.
to see everybody.